What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cam Rogers Show. Fun fact, I am not Cam Rogers. I am Harris Rubenstein taking over for Cam today. Ladies and gentlemen, the number one topic in sports this entire summer has been, what is LeBron James going to do? And we have that answer. LeBron James will sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, and we have an awesome show on tap, building the whole show around the King, going to LA. We got 5 players to join LeBron on the Lakers coming up in a little bit, including an update on Kawhi Leonard, because apparently he is going to sit out the entire season if the Spurs do not trade him to the Lakers. We'll do a little NBA free agency recap as well. And in honor of LeBron signing with the Lakers, I am going to give you my Monstars starting 5 with Space Jam 2 coming out soon. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I want to know from you guys as well what your starting 5 would be for the Monstars. But ladies and gentlemen, call the Lakers. That is what LeBron James told agent Rich Paul as he boarded a plane to take a month-long trip around Europe. LeBron James has officially joined the Los Angeles Lakers. He signs a 4-year, $154 million deal with a player option in year 4. Now, obviously, this changes the entire spectrum of the NBA and shifts the balance of power completely to the Western Conference. It is so interesting to see LeBron James signing a 4-year deal with the Lakers. This is a long-term commitment. This isn't just something that he's going there to do a 1-year deal on a 1-year deal and see what happens. No, no, no. This is a full commitment to the city of Los Angeles and to the Lakers as a whole. LeBron James is here to stay in Los Angeles, and it gives the Lakers a chance to really build around him. Now, multiple reports have claimed that he's told the Lakers that he is in no rush to win a finals with them and that he wants them to actually build a legitimate team around him, which we'll obviously get into more and more as we go with how this affects the Kawhi Leonard trade and what are the players they could sign. But a good contract for LeBron. He does get the 4-year max. It's interesting that he went with only 4 years at $154 million. Obviously, someone like a Chris Paul got 4 years, $160 with the Houston Rockets. So not the most amount of money that LeBron James could have signed for, but still a very impressive contract. Nonetheless, he will be making $41 million when he is at the spry age of 37 years old, watching LeBron James Jr. graduate from Sierra Canyon High School. But I will say this, Lakers fans, as of this morning, they look pretty pleased. They are outside Staples Center doing stuff like this. They're loading up the baby powder, getting to throw it up in the air, LeBron James style. Great to see Lakers fans so happy, or isn't it detestful to see Lakers fans so happy? Just kidding. We're all Lakers fans this morning, especially because LeBron James going to the Lakers is so good for the NBA as a whole. This is literally as if Tom Brady signed with the Dallas Cowboys. There are very few times in the history of sports when you have the sport's biggest player join the sport's biggest team. It is such a huge moment for basketball as a whole and a huge moment for the NBA going forward, who have a real adventure ahead of them in trying to maximize this opportunity as a league. Because, look, LeBron James on the Lakers, just from a global standpoint, is so unbelievably huge for the NBA raising its reputation and gaining as many fans as possible. I also think this is huge for LeBron as a brand. I mean, going to LA, rubbing elbows with the rest of the celebrities of Hollywood, maybe getting some movie deals, his other business interests, his agency is out there as well, Clutch Sports. So a lot of different angles for LeBron James in Los Angeles, not to mention the most important one, his family. Now, a lot of the time we reported with this, LeBron James going to Lakers thing, we've reported that his family was such a big impact on where he was going to go next. And we've seen that this move to LA really does involve his family more so than anything else. It allows his kids to go to some of the great high schools that Los Angeles offers. It gives them an official place to stay. No more traveling, no more threat of changing teams. The James family is settling in Los Angeles, and that is where they will stay. And for the Lakers, obviously this is massive because it puts them back into the spotlight. It restores the franchise to the previous heights that it is known and loved. It gives the fan base something to be excited for this year. And also, it now allows the Lakers to become the #1 free agent destination in the NBA. It is no longer the Warriors. It is no longer the Rockets or the Celtics. The Los Angeles Lakers are back, baby, and that is so good for the NBA. I'm saying this as a Celtics fan. You always want the Lakers to be relevant. The more relevant the Lakers are, the more relevant the NBA is, and the more chaotic things get in basketball as a whole. It is so great to see the Lakers and just the energy and momentum that is around the franchise right now. There are a lot of Lakers haters out there. I know, trust me, I've been one for my entire life rooting against the Lakers. But when LeBron goes there, you have to be excited. It is one of the best possible things that the NBA could have asked for. And I will say this, we've seen a remarkable amount of non-hatred towards LeBron for this move. I think everyone just kind of understood it was time, and there are more things at play in his life now than just winning basketball games. But obviously, that is still the point of the NBA. And if you look at our title odds here, the Warriors still at #1, -110 to win the NBA title, which obviously very unsurprising. Got the Lakers moving up to second, tied with the Celtics at +350 to win the NBA title. The Rockets there are +700, and the 76ers at +1400. Very interesting to see the Lakers jumping up so high. +350 is absolutely outrageous. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Is Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and LeBron James, plus Lance Stevenson and JaVale McGee, the second best team in basketball? I don't really think so. I think the Rockets right now are still better than the Lakers. They have the MVP, and they got Chris Paul. I understand that LeBron James is now in the Lakers, but I just think the team is a little bit too young right now. But I will say this. I'm very proud of the Cleveland Cavaliers fans. They're really taking this in stride. We have a great video to show you guys. Cavs fans reacting the right way. No lighting jerseys on fire. None of this stuff. Just thank you, LeBron James. And that is what every single Cavs fan should be saying this morning. Thank you, LeBron. Thank you for everything that you've done for our franchise. Thank you for what you've done for the city of Cleveland. The dude is building public schools out of his own pocket. There's no more time to be angry at LeBron James or to be spiteful over him leaving again. It was time. His relationship with the franchise has completely devolved. His life has changed so much since he came back to Cleveland. It is time for him to enter the twilight years of his career. And if he wants to spend that in Los Angeles with the Lakers, all the power to LeBron James. It makes the league better. It makes the West better. It makes everything more competitive and more exciting. And I am so for this move. I was for the move when it first got reported a year ago by Kevin O'Connor with The Ringer, and I'm for it today. This is so good for the average basketball fan. You're going to see a lot of LeBron James and the Lakers on national television next year. If you're in Los Angeles right now, it is going to be impossible to get Lakers tickets now. My buddy got Lakers Celtics tickets last year, 6 rows back from the court for $150. Those tickets are about to be $2,000 a pop, baby, if not more. Those Lakers tickets are about to become the hottest ticket in town. And if you're trying to go watch LeBron with the Lakers, there's going to be a waiting list outside of Staples for 2 years. It is impossible to get these tickets now. I am stunned. I am absolutely stunned by how expensive these Lakers tickets are going to be. Season tickets are going to be through the roof. The waiting list is going to be crazy on this. I can't wait to see people going crazy over Game 1 of LeBron James in Staples Center. That is going to be one of the most expensive basketball non-NBA Finals tickets in the history of the NBA. But check out the Lakers lineup with LeBron, obviously slotting him over in that small forward position. This is an interesting one. Obviously, there's multiple different lineups that you can mix and match with the Lakers. Lonzo Ball, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the Lakers picked up last night as well. Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, obviously LeBron James over there on the left. And then you see the Lakers bench. They add Lance Stevenson and JaVale McGee. By the way, just want to say this. I called Lance Stevenson on NBA Weekly last night after LeBron James broke. People asked me, "Oh, Harris, what are some players the Lakers could add?" I instantly pointed to Lance Stevenson because he is a great fit on this Lakers team and just makes them so much fun. I want to kind of take a step back here to kind of, temper people's expectations with this Lakers team. They are going to make this team incredibly fun. That doesn't mean this team is going to be incredibly good, but that means that the Lakers are going to add people like JaVale McGee and Lance Stevenson to make this team more fun and more entertaining. Because this team is going to be all over national television next year in terms of nationally televised games, highlights, topics, the headlines. Everyone's going to be talking about the Lakers. So why not make them a super fun team and add JaVale McGee and Lance Stevenson as well? They did also bring in Mo Wagner, who they drafted 25th overall. They officially have him under contract for next season. So this Lakers team, just from a basketball standpoint, a good amount of bigs who can shoot, a lot of length on this team as well, decent perimeter defense. I think they still are looking for another star on this team. I wouldn't be surprised if they obviously try to make a move for Kawhi Leonard and replace Brandon Ingram with him. So we'll see what this Lakers lineup looks like as we get forward. We'll have a couple more for you when we add 5 players the Lakers could add this summer. But I don't know from you guys, now that LeBron is on the Lakers, which player is the GOAT? Is it LeBron or is it Jordan? I've said this multiple times. As of right now, it is still Michael Jordan. By the end of his career, it will be LeBron James. And in order sometimes to officially be known as the GOAT, you gotta take a risk. And LeBron James is making a king-sized risk by going to the Los Angeles Lakers for the last couple years of his career. I think it'll end up working out well for him, but for now, we will see what happens with LeBron James and the Lakers. The Cam Rogers Show is presented to you today by Autolist. Driving a car is fun. Car shopping should be too. Go to Autolist.com or download their top-rated apps for iPhone or Android. All right, everyone, so we just went through LeBron James. Now let's talk about how this affects the NBA as a whole. Because, look, we know that the West is the better conference than the East. We've known this for a while. But now LeBron moving to the West has taken this to a whole nother level. Here's the list of players in both conferences who have made an All-NBA first team. So let's start with the West. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, DeAndre Jordan, Marc Gasol, Dirk Nowitzki, Derrick Rose, Damian Lillard. Those are the players in the Western Conference alone who have made an All-NBA first team, okay? Here are the players in the East that have made an All-NBA first team. That's it. Joakim Noah. He's the only player in the Eastern Conference as of right now to have made an All-NBA first team since the start of the Warriors run in 2014. That is absolutely outrageous. Now, Dwight Howard is not listed because obviously he doesn't have a team yet, so if he ends up in the East, then we can add him there, but it certainly seems like he might be joining the Warriors anyway. So the balance of power, obviously we knew it was leaning towards the West, but nothing like this. This is absolutely outrageous. The Western Conference may be, as of right now, the greatest conference in the history of basketball going into a season. So obviously with LeBron going to the Lakers, it kind of changes up how the standings are going to be for next year. So let's go through my Western Conference rankings with LeBron now on the Lakers. Still got the Warriors at 1, got the Rockets at 2. I still don't think LeBron and the Lakers makes them better than the Warriors or the Rockets. They still got a lot of fixing to do with that roster. It is not championship ready as of right now. At number 4, I got the Utah Jazz. I love what they're doing. I think the Jazz are going to be a really good team next year. Got the Thunder at 5. And then let's go to the back half of the West. The Blazers at 6, the Spurs at 7, the T-Wolves at 8. And then here are the non-playoff teams in the West. The Nuggets I have missing the playoffs. The Pelicans I have missing the playoffs. The Clippers I have missing out. The Suns I have missing out. And the Mavericks. The West goes 13 teams deep over who could legitimately make the playoffs next year. 13 teams. That is absolutely outrageous. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. 13 possible playoff teams in one conference? Are you kidding me? That is absolutely insane. And the Western Conference is going to be a war zone next year. The East, Not so much. You got the Celtics at 1, obviously. The Sixers at 2. If the Raptors don't blow it up, they'll stay at number 3 for me. I got the Pacers at 4. The Bucks coming in at number 5. I got the Wizards as my 6th seed. This is my last ever opportunity that I'm giving the Washington Wizards to actually do something and not completely screw it up. Because they're going to screw it up. They're going to mess up something next season, or someone will get injured, and I'm going to look like an idiot. At number 7, I have the Pistons. I like what they're doing, and I like them bringing in Dwayne Casey. I think they're a playoff team next year. At 8, I got the Heat. At 9, I got the Knicks, not a playoff team yet. And at 10, I got the Cavs. I think the Cavs without LeBron James are not a playoff team. Plus, I still think the Cavs are going to blow it up anyway. Do not be surprised if Kevin Love gets traded over the next couple of weeks. Next, and the final half of the East, you got the Bulls, the Nets, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Magic. So in reality, the East has maybe 5 real playoff teams, and then obviously 3 other guys who are just going to make the playoffs because it's the Eastern Conference and it's super weak. So you have 5 real playoff teams and a bunch of terrible other teams in the Eastern Conference. This is a disaster for the East. It's terrible. I mean, losing LeBron, who is just, the feather in the hat of the conference, saying, you know what, we know that the West as a whole is better, but hey, it's okay. We have LeBron James. But now if you're the Eastern Conference, who do you center it around? Who is the focus right now in the East? Is it Ben Simmons and the 76ers? Is it Kyrie Irving and the Celtics? Is it DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry and the Raptors? Is it Victor Oladipo and the Pacers? The East right now is in complete flux because the great black hole of LeBron James is no longer there. And especially with LeBron and how much he's dominated the East, so many franchises and teams and prospective title contenders have just fallen under the foot of LeBron James. The Pacers with Paul George and Roy Hibbert. The big 3 Celtics completely died. The Hawks with Millsap and Horford completely vanished. Melo's Knicks, the Raptors over the past 5 years. LeBron has eaten all of them. And now with him gone, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Eastern Conference evolves and changes with LeBron in the West. But I want to know from you guys, how many titles will LeBron James win with the Lakers? Will he even win a single title with the Lakers? I think he'll end up with 1. I don't think it's going to be this year. I think the Lakers going into next season will end up being the title favorite once they have a full season of Kawhi and LeBron under their belt, plus a couple other 2019 free agent signings. But look, LeBron James going to the Lakers changes the entire landscape of the NBA again. There are very few people who could have an impact on a sport like LeBron James does. He is the sultan of the NBA. He is the dictator of basketball. The NBA still runs through LeBron James regardless of what conference he is in. And you can bet your biscuits that the Golden State Warriors are going to have a much more difficult run to the NBA title next season because LeBron James has decided to cut out the middleman and is telling you, look, I may not be able to beat you in the finals, but I might just make sure that you never get back there in the first place. So LeBron James, 4 years, $154 million, officially joins the Los Angeles Lakers and heads to Hollywood. I'm Harris Rubenstein, taking over for Cam Rogers this morning on the Cam Rogers Show, presented by Autolist. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsDean. I'll be taking you through everything along the NBA offseason as we go through. So let's go to our next topic on the day. What are some players that the Lakers could add to play with LeBron James? Obviously, Kawhi Leonard is an option, but he's not the only one out there that the Lakers are going to add to play next to the Kings. So let's start with our first one. Maybe the Lakers bring back Brook Lopez. He was on the team last year, got traded from the Nets to the Lakers to start last season, and he played pretty well, 13 points per game, about 4 rebounds, and a block and a half per game. Not a great defender, and at this point in his career, he'd be a good backup offensive option at center, though I think after signing JaVale McGee, it's going to be a less and less likely option that Brook Lopez comes back. But he would be able to bring a nice scoring and rebounding option off the bench. You can never have too many big men that can score, especially in today's game that is so guard dominant, especially with the Lakers having so many similar players at the power forward spot between Kyle Kuzma and Mo Wagner. Brandon Ingram is a similar player as well. He's more of an outside jump shooter. They need someone under the rim who can really make a big impact. And I think we saw with Brook Lopez last year, he still does have that potential to make an impact on the game on the offensive side of the glass. And I think as you see here with their lineup, it is a good matchup to have Alonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and LeBron James. I think having someone like Brook Lopez gives you a more stereotypical kind of offensive lineup for the Lakers. A little more stability there as well, having a prototypical center rather than someone, a stretch forward there like a Kuzma or a Mo Wagner. Though, again, that is why the Lakers did bring in JaVale McGee. They liked the versatility that he showed in the playoffs. They loved his offensive game that he showed off in the finals. The dude was 16 of 20 from the floor for the Warriors in the NBA Finals. So the Lakers got a good player in JaVale McGee, but I think that Brook Lopez could really help take that offense or their second unit to the next level. So I think Brook Lopez could be a guy that you see the Lakers maybe make a run at as free agency continues on. All right, let's get to our next guy. How about Julius Randle? Could he make a return to Hollywood and stay with the Lakers? So Julius Randle, as of right now, is a restricted free agent. So he would either have to accept his qualifying offer of about $8.5 million, or the Lakers would have to sign him to a separate one-year deal. Now, the Lakers only have about $14 to $15 million left of cap space to work with after picking up Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and LeBron James. But I think picking up Julius Randle on a one-year deal would be really good for them. I don't think they're in any position to give anyone any long-term deals right now, especially going to next year where Kawhi Leonard's going to be a free agent. They're going to want to give him a ton of money. He's going to want the max. So if they want to keep that max slot open, they can't be giving out these crazy deals, 3 or 4 year $18 to $19 million deals to Julius Randle. That's just not something realistic that the Lakers can offer at this time. So I could see a one-year deal, maybe something around $13 to $14 million. Look, the Lakers need defense down low in a big, big way. I think that's the biggest weakness on this team right now. They don't have a certifiable rim protector. Kyle Kuzma, Mo Wagner are not rim protectors. JaVale McGee can get the job done, but are you really going to play JaVale McGee for 20-plus minutes a night? I mean, he's good as a rotational big, but I cannot see JaVale McGee being a legitimate futuristic starting option for this Lakers team. They got to get someone down low that can play a little defense, and I think Julius Randle would be the perfect guy for them. We saw him make a big-time impact on the Lakers last year. He also averaged 19 points per game after the All-Star break last year for the Lakers. So he really turned it on in the second half, and I think that it would be a good idea for both sides to reunite their previous, endeavors. All right, let's get to another player to join the Lakers. How about J.J. Redick? Now, he would take up a chunk of cap space, but he would certainly be worth it. One of the best sharpshooters in the NBA. We saw him take about $20 million last year with the 76ers on a one-year deal to kind of strengthen their backcourt and to be a mentor for their very young guards that they had. I think that J.J. Redick would be a great pickup for the Lakers. He would be the sharpshooter that they desperately need at the guard position. I mean, if you look at the guards that the Lakers have right now, it's Lonzo Ball, it's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, it's Lance Stevenson, it's Josh Hart. Not a lot of shooting in that backcourt. I know that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shot well from three last year, but let's be honest with ourselves. I don't think anyone is going to call Kentavious Caldwell-Pope a sharpshooter. I think he's more of a good two-way guard rather than a specific shooter. He's going to do a good job of trying to, maintain the backcourt consistency with Lonzo Ball. Remember, Lonzo Ball is a great defender for a rookie. I mean, he was a good defender last year for the Lakers and can shut down the best of the point guards. I don't know how well he's going to do against the Russell Westbrooks as the years goes on, but he can do a good job against some really good shooters in the Western Conference. So you add J.J. Redick. He's a decent defender as well. Great sharpshooter, a needed three-point shooter on the perimeter for the Lakers. I think they're going to end up with the sharpshooter. I don't think Svi Mikhailuk, who they draft in the second round, is enough for the Lakers in terms of their shooting with LeBron James. So we could see them pick up someone like J.J. Redick. He would take a huge chunk out of their cap space, but again, they'd be filling a big-time need as they continue to build their roster around LeBron James. The Cam Rogers Show is presented to you today by Autolist. Are you looking for a used or new car? Are you tired of browsing a million sites? Go to Autolist.com to browse the largest source of inventory on the web or download their top-rated mobile app for iPhone or Android. Thank you to Autolist for coming along the Cam Rogers Show today. I am not Cam Rogers. I am Harris Rubenstein, taking you through everything surrounding LeBron James and the Lakers today. All right, let's get to our next player that could join LeBron James on the Los Angeles Lakers. How about Wayne Ellington? Now, Wayne Ellington is probably a name that people are going, who? Well, Wayne Ellington has actually turned into one of the better three-point shooters in the NBA over the past couple of years. He completely reinvigorated his NBA career. This is a dude that was on the bubble of even being a professional basketball player. He turned around his career, became a reliable three-point shooter off the bench for the Heat the past 2 seasons. He was good on the Grizzlies as well a couple of years ago. He has really turned his career around. And if you're the Lakers and you don't want to give, 10, 11, maybe even $12 million to a guy like J.J. Redick, you could give $7 or $8 million to Wayne Ellington and have him come in and fill a very similar role. Now, I don't think that Wayne Ellington is ever going to start for the Lakers. We do have him in our starting lineup here simply because we want to show you guys, what these additions will look like with LeBron James on the floor. But Wayne Ellington would just end up being probably your #1 shooter off the bench. I think he would be a great leader on that second unit next to Josh Hart and the like of a Mo Wagner as well. It will give you a lot of fun shooting. Maybe your second unit ends up being Josh Hart, Wayne Ellington, Mo Wagner, and then you throw in Kuzma, Ingram, and LeBron to kind of center around there along with JaVale McGee. So you could have a really fun lineup with Wayne Ellington and still maintain a good amount of perimeter shooting and perimeter defense. So he would be a good cheap shooting option for the Lakers on the outside and would cost way less than J.J. Redick. Doesn't quite have the overall pizzazz that a J.J. Redick would have, but Wayne Ellington would be a safe and smart signing for the Lakers. All right, our last player to join the Lakers with LeBron. Could it be anyone else? It is Kawhi Leonard, because a trade to the Lakers is now more of a when than it is an if. The relationship between Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs is completely severed. It is gone. It is over. The two are not getting along. It is done. Kawhi Leonard does not want to be on the Spurs anymore. He wants to wear the purple and gold and come to Hollywood to play with LeBron James and the Lakers. This has been widely reported by multiple people, us here at Chat Sports. Everyone across the NBA interwebs is saying the same exact thing. LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard will end up teaming up in Los Angeles on the Lakers. That has always been the plan. Well, obviously, Paul George kind of threw a wrench in the plan because he was supposed to be a part of it. But Kawhi Leonard coming to the Lakers has been the plan for the past month or so now. And now that LeBron is officially in LA, Kawhi is 100% focused on joining the Los Angeles Lakers. There were some rumors that Kawhi Leonard could be considering maybe the 76ers, maybe they trade for him and he thinks about signing an extension there. Not anymore. His goal has always been to get to the Lakers and not be the big-time star. He's not a guy who loves the spotlight. LeBron James is totally fine accepting that role, and then you have Kawhi Leonard coming in as his number 2, being the quiet, more private guy that he is, allowing him to just go out there, play his game, live in his hometown of Los Angeles, and play for the team that he always wanted to play for, the Los Angeles Lakers. Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, will be wearing the purple and gold by the time the 2018 season starts. I'd be stunned, frankly, if Kawhi Leonard is not on the Lakers by the start of the season. I think the only way that Kawhi doesn't end up on the Lakers is if the Spurs literally just decide to not trade him and just have him sit out for the entire season, which, mind you, he's already threatened to do. But we'll get to that in a little bit. We got some comments to go through coming in here on Facebook and YouTube. Joseph A. Moore says the Lakers would have to give up way too much in a trade for him now. Let him sit out a year if need be. I'm not keen on giving up Kuzma or Ingram. I'd trade Ball, though. Well, Joseph, the report that came out yesterday is that the Lakers are not willing to move Kyle Kuzma or multiple first-round picks. Now, they are willing to move Brandon Ingram, which is fine because, in theory, having LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, and Brandon Ingram, and Kyle Kuzma is a touch repetitive. So I think if they move Ingram to get Kawhi Leonard, that's totally fine because how many minutes and how many shots is Brandon Ingram going to be able to shoot with Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James on the team? I think that's a fine trade if you have to move Ingram to get Kawhi Leonard. Joe Coob says Boogie Cousins will be a Laker this offseason. I like this concept, but I don't think in reality it's actually going to happen. Boogie Cousins wants his money. He wants that 1-year max deal or 2-year max deal with the Pelicans. He thought that the Lakers were going to give him a short-term max, but instead they decided to allocate their money elsewhere to the likes of a Lance Stevenson, a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, or a JaVale McGee. So at this time, I would not expect Boogie Cousins to be a Laker, despite how much fun that would be, especially in the pick and roll. Would be a terrible defensive team, but it would definitely be fun, and that team would score a ton of points. All right, we know from you guys, though, we got a reaction poll here. Which player should the Lakers add? Give me a thumbs up for Brook Lopez. Give me a heart for Julius Randle. Give me a laughing face for J.J. Redick. And give me a wow face for Wayne Ellington. A lot of good players on that list. I still think it'll end up being Kawhi Leonard, but man, J.J. Redick would be an awesome addition for the Lakers with LeBron James. All right, everyone, I am Harris Rubenstein. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsDean for all of your NBA news and updates. We just talked about how great of an option Kawhi Leonard would be on the Los Angeles Lakers, and he could be headed there as soon as this morning. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Lakers have established a deadline to the Spurs. If Kawhi isn't on our team by this morning, we will end trade discussions and you will just have to sit on him all season long. Kawhi Leonard has officially threatened the San Antonio Spurs that he will sit out the entire season unless they trade him to the Los Angeles Lakers. Kawhi Leonard has made his intentions very, very clear. Trade me to LA or else. He's already said that he's going to sign there in 2019 when he gets the opportunity, and now he's forcing the Spurs' hand. Now that LeBron is officially in LA, now that the cogs are officially rolling on getting another super team with the Lakers, it is now time for Kawhi Leonard to come to the Lakers and wear the purple and gold. He has wanted to play for the Lakers since it seems like the start of this last season with the injury that went down, only played 9 games. The relationship was fraying, and then it finally split this offseason once the Lakers officially got LeBron James. Kawhi has made his intentions very, very clear, crystal clear, in fact, to the Spurs. If you do not trade me, I will not play for you, and I will be sitting on that bench every single night while you look silly for not getting a trade package for me, or I'm just going to leave for free anyway next year and sign with the Lakers in 2019. I love Kawhi Leonard playing hardball here with the Spurs. Now, I'm a big Spurs guy. I'm a big Greg Popovich guy. But I'm also a big go get your money man. Because, look, the NBA, especially just all sports in general, you don't play this game for a long time. And if you're a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who is an absolute superstar and one of the 5 best players in basketball when he is healthy, and that is unquestionable at this point. When Kawhi Leonard is healthy, he is a top 5 player in basketball. And if you're him and you have a choice at this time over who you can play for, go right ahead. Choose the Lakers. Go play with LeBron. Be his number 2. Go get your max deal and figure out the rest later. He'll still be a title contender. He'll still be one of the best players in the NBA. And the Lakers, with Kawhi and LeBron, will be one of the best teams in all of basketball. Let's continue on here with our Kawhi Leonard trade rumors. Are the Lakers not willing to give up Kyle Kuzma? Well, at this time, they have told the Spurs, no, Kyle Kuzma is allowed. They also said that they are completely unwilling to give up 3 first-round picks for Kawhi Leonard. Now, when the Spurs were leaking their trade negotiations with the 76ers to try to spook the Lakers, it became clear that the Spurs were asking for 2 things. They're asking for 2 current starting NBA players and 3 future first-round picks. Now, the Lakers have made it very clear, we're not giving up 3 first-round picks for Kawhi Leonard if he's just going to sign with us in 2019. And we're certainly not going to give up Kyle Kuzma if, again, Kawhi Leonard is going to sign with us in 2019. The Lakers hold all the leverage right now. Now, I don't think they can get by without giving up someone like a Brandon Ingram plus maybe 1 or 2 first-round picks plus maybe a sign and trade of Julius Randle. But them not wanting to move Kyle Kuzma is a great idea. I mean, why move him at all? Why move a 22-year-old, more mature, already polished scorer when you can give up someone like Brandon Ingram, who is still very much in the air over whether or not he is going to end up being an NBA star? I know they averaged the same points per game last year, but if you're the Lakers, you want 100% trade Brandon Ingram for Kawhi Leonard over Kyle Kuzma, simply because Kawhi Leonard and Brandon Ingram play the same position and do about the same thing on an NBA floor. Kyle Kuzma brings a much different element to an NBA offense than Brandon Ingram does. I'm not saying that Kyle Kuzma is better than Brandon Ingram. I don't think we know who is better between the two quite yet. We still need to see them play a little more NBA basketball. I mean, we're going into year 3 of Brandon Ingram, year 2 of Kyle Kuzma. So we still have a long way to go to see who is better. But personally, if I'm the Lakers, I want Brandon Ingram over Kyle Kuzma in that trade, simply because, again, if you have Kawhi Leonard and you have LeBron James, what is your need to have Brandon Ingram as well? You need Kyle Kuzma to give you a bigger option at the 4 who can also shoot. But if you have Brandon Ingram, I just think it gets a little bit repetitive having LeBron and Kawhi and Brandon Ingram, especially because we know that Brandon Ingram can kind of play the point forward position. But again, you have LeBron, so you don't really need Brandon Ingram to fill that role. So Kawhi Leonard with the Lakers, don't want to give up Kyle Kuzma. I think it makes a lot of sense. You know what else makes a lot of sense? Using Autolist.com to find your new car today. Driving a car is fun. Car shopping should be too. Go to Autolist.com or download their top-rated apps. For iPhone or Android, you're watching the Cam Rogers Show. I know, I'm not Cam Rogers. I'm actually Harris Rubenstein. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsDean as I take you through the entire week of Cam Rogers shows. He is on vacation. He's up there in the Northeast enjoying the beautiful beaches that the East Coast has to offer. So I'll be taking you through all the top NBA news this week. Let's get back to Kawhi Leonard here. Is the relationship between Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs completely centered? Absolutely. So much so that the Spurs have not even offered him a supermax extension, which was the entire point of the meeting with him in the first place. And now, as I said before, Kawhi has threatened to sit out this season if there isn't a Lakers trade. Now, we know that LeBron obviously is in LA, and the Sixers' pursuit of Kawhi Leonard has basically ended. So now it's Lakers or bust for Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs. And if I'm R.C. Buford and I'm Greg Popovich with the Spurs, at this point, you just take whatever you can get from the Los Angeles Lakers. If they're throwing at you Brandon Ingram plus a sign and trade of Julius Randle and a first-round pick, take it and run. That is all you're going to be able to get for Kawhi Leonard at this time. If you can get Brandon Ingram and 2 first-round picks, you take it and run. Take your players, take your picks, and go, or you're going to end up getting nothing for one of the 5 best players in basketball, and Kawhi is just going to waltz on over to the Lakers and sign with them for free. Make a trade, get some assets back for Kawhi. You won 50 games without him last year, Spurs. You'll be just fine. Imagine the Spurs team that they had last year, plus Brandon Ingram, plus some future assets to maybe make a move for another star. That is still a very good team. That is still a Western Conference Finals contending team in the San Antonio Spurs without Kawhi Leonard if they're able to pick up the likes of Brandon Ingram. So I still think the Spurs have a chance to be a good team next year. But if the Lakers do get Kawhi Leonard, I want to know from you guys, does getting Kawhi Leonard make the Lakers a title favorite? Let me know in the comments section below. I certainly think it does. I think it makes them the second best team in all of basketball behind the Warriors. And I will say this, until someone beats the Warriors, no one is better than the Warriors. No one can be the #1 team in the NBA until they take down the Warriors. So the Lakers have to beat the Warriors in order to be crowned the best team in basketball, or preseason favorites to win the title. The Warriors for now are still the favorite to win the NBA final and lift the Larry O'Brien trophy. We got a comment coming in from Alex Fuentes Jr. saying, if they added Leonard, I'm telling you this team will do great things, especially if Randle re-signs. Now, hey, watch out. Remember to throw in that hyphen in between RE and signs, because it just seems that Julius Randle is going to resign instead of re-sign. But I agree with you. If Leonard does come to the Lakers, they're going to have an outstanding run over the next couple of years, especially with the 4 years that they're able to keep LeBron James here. I don't think that Randle is going to end up re-signing. I think he's going to get picked up by another team who can offer him a little bit more money. But if they do get Kawhi Leonard, you add him with LeBron James and the likes of Alonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma, a lot of great young pieces on that team and a motivated front office as well. I think the Lakers have a great future ahead of them if they are able to pick up Kawhi Leonard. You are watching The Cam Rogers Show. I am your host, Harris Rubenstein. I am not Cam Rogers. I'm taking over for Cam while he enjoys a beautiful vacation on the beaches of the Northeast. So we went over LeBron James. We went over Kawhi Leonard. Let's go over the rest of the NBA from this past weekend and go over just who signed the big deals. We did get over $1 billion handed out of new NBA contracts. So let's go through who has taken home the most green this summer. We got Kevin Durant re-signing with the Warriors, 2 years, $61.5 million. He has an opt-out next year, so he signed a 1-and-1. He is eligible for the Supermax next summer, and that is going to be the most interesting topic in basketball next summer. What do the Warriors do with their cap? Because as it stands right now, Draymond Green is going to be looking for the Supermax. Kevin Durant is going to be looking for the Supermax. Klay Thompson is looking for an extension as well. The only player on this team that actually has a legitimate long-term standing with the Warriors is Steph Curry. I think that Klay Thompson will end up coming back, but he's currently listed to be a free agent in 2019. And that issue between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green for who gets the Supermax could end up deciding the entire future of the Warriors dynasty. I'm not even using hyperbole there. I'm being completely serious. The Warriors are going to have to decide who is more important to this team, Kevin Durant or Draymond Green, because they can't give both of them Supermaxes. That's just not allowed according to NBA rules. And they both want it, and they both feel that they deserve it. So they're going to have to choose between the two. And I can't believe I'm saying this. If I'm the Golden State Warriors and I have to choose to give the Supermax to either Kevin Durant or Draymond Green, I'm giving it to Draymond. I mean, he's my guy. I drafted him in the second round. I turned him and developed him into one of the best players in the NBA. His defense is so important to this team, as is his leadership and locker room demeanor. And as much as I love Kevin Durant and think that he's one of the greatest scorers to ever grace the NBA, if you're the Warriors, he was always an extra piece. Steph, Klay, and Draymond were who started this in the beginning. And if I think you're the Warriors, you have a huge decision on your hands. I choose Draymond Green over Kevin Durant. And I know I'm going to get roasted for that. I know. Kevin Durant is a better player than Draymond Green. I'm not saying that Draymond Green is better than Durant. But from a team-building standpoint, with where the Warriors are, Draymond Green is way more important than Kevin Durant in terms of keeping that team together. So Joe Lacob has a huge decision on his hands in 2019. All right, let's get to our next free agency signing. Paul George is back with the Thunder. 4 years, $137 million deal. I wonder if he's regretting it now that LeBron is in LA, but I can't imagine that Paul George is anything less than happy. $137 million would put a huge smile on my face as well. Sets him up to be a potential free agent at 30 years old. But this is huge for the Oklahoma City Thunder being able to keep him. GM Sam Presti has done a great job of keeping a small market team competitive. through having to trade away James Harden because they weren't able to pay him at the time, through having to trade away Serge Ibaka because his contract was too much, also through losing Kevin Durant, but they were able to keep Russell Westbrook, and now they're able to keep Paul George in tow. I wonder what they do with Carmelo Anthony and his horrific contract, because as of right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder have the most expensive starting five in the NBA. Russell Westbrook, $35 million. Paul George, $30 million. Steven Adams, $24 million. Carmelo Anthony, $28 million. And then Andre Roberson, $10 million. As Sam Presti said in Paul George's free agency thing, scared money don't make money. And the Oklahoma City Thunder were not afraid to go out and get their guy in Paul George, make a trade for him, sell him on the community, sell him on the coaching, sell him on the franchise as a whole. Paul George has officially bought into the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we have a weigh-in up here for you guys. Did Paul George make the right choice rejoining the Oklahoma City Thunder? Personally, I think it was a weird decision, but if you're talking about what the right choice is, I think the right choice was the exact contract that Paul George signed. He signed a deal that allows him to become a free agent again at 30, when he could be eligible for either the Supermax or another massive contract. Remember, people, the NBA salary cap has been doing nothing but this, or I guess the other way around. It'll be this for you guys over the past couple of years. I've switched here with the screen. So with the NBA salary cap going up so much, Paul George is going to be able to sign another massive free agency deal in 3 years and maybe go to LA anyway. So I think Paul George made the right decision, staying with Oklahoma City. Commit to something. Stay in one place. Work with Russ. Try to figure out if you can make this team into a true title contender. And then in 3 years, if you haven't won anything, just leave anyway. Joseph A. Moore saying PG-13 will regret this by next season. Look, I think the Thunder could have another first-round exit again this year. Who knows? That could be what ends up happening with the Thunder. But I will say this. The Thunder needed Paul George back. And I think Paul George also needed the Thunder. I know he wanted to go to the Lakers. I know I certainly assumed he was going to go to the Lakers, as did everyone else. But I think for the spectrum of the NBA, having Paul George in Oklahoma City and then having Kawhi Leonard going to the Spurs, I think makes for a much more balanced Western Conference than just having Paul George with the Lakers and then making a move for Kawhi Leonard too. Paul George staying with the Thunder is good for a lot of different reasons. All right, let's get to our next free agency signing. How about Chris Paul re-signing with the Rockets, 4 years, $160 million max contract. Chris Paul, 33 years old, gets his money. The Rockets do not give him that 5th year that he desired, and instead he just gets a huge contract at 33 years old, coming off of a pretty nasty hamstring injury that forced him to miss both Game 6 and Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals when the Rockets had a 3-2 lead over the Warriors. And as well, Chris Paul keeps the Rockets a title contender for at least the next 2 seasons, and now the Rockets' attention can fully turn towards keeping Clint Capella. I know the LeBron James pursuit was all the rage for the Rockets, and to be totally honest, with how public it was, it probably lost them Trevor Ariza. I think he was a little bit insulted that instead of bringing him back, they were just talking about bringing in Paul George and LeBron James instead of keeping Trevor Ariza. So he's gone, and this is what the Rockets have in terms of their lineup as of right now. Chris Paul comes back, $35 million a year on that max deal. James Harden obviously signed the Supermax last offseason. So if the Rockets want a realistic chance of making the NBA Finals, they got to bring back Clint Capella. He is so important to that team. And do you know what else is important to buying a car? Having a place that you can trust, and you can trust Autolist.com. We want to thank them for sponsoring the Cam Rogers Show today. Are you looking for a used or new car? Tired of browsing a million sites? Go to Autolist.com to browse the largest source of inventory on the web, or download their top-rated mobile app for iPhone or Android. Let's get to our next free agency signing. How about DeAndre Jordan? He signed a 1-year deal worth roughly $24 million. He did opt out of his contract with the Clippers. And ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Every single member of the 2015 Los Angeles Clippers is officially gone. Every single player that was on that team is no more. Chris Paul is gone. Jamal Crawford is gone. Blake Griffin, J.J. Redick, Austin Rivers, Paul Pierce, and now DeAndre Jordan. Rest in peace, Lob City. DeAndre Jordan officially joins the Dallas Mavericks. I like what the Mavs are trying to do here. I like the impact that they're trying to make on the Western Conference. It's a shame that the West is absolutely stacked next year and that the Mavs most likely won't make the playoffs. But if you can get a guy like DeAndre Jordan, it is always a good move. Good job by the Mavericks getting someone in of his quality. Speaking of bringing in players of a certain quality, how about the Phoenix Suns being able to steal away Trevor Ariza? That one was stunning to me. A one-year, $15 million deal with the Suns. He brings in a great sense of veteran leadership and playmaking on the wing. I think he's going to be a great mentor for both Mikal Bridges and Josh Jackson. He is the ultimate 3-and-D guy in the NBA outside of the likes of, the Paul Georges and Kawhi Leonards of the world. But Trevor Ariza as a role player is going to be such a useful guy for the Suns. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Suns starting lineup is next year. Who plays point guard? Is Devin Booker going to play point guard? Is it going to be Elliot Kobo, the guy that got in the second round? I have no idea at this point. Elfrid Payton signed a contract with the Pelicans last night. So as of right now, the Suns don't really have a point guard, but they do have a lot of wings, a lot of scoring, and a great young big man in DeAndre Ayton. Mikal Bridges, Josh Jackson, Trevor Ariza, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. I know, trust me, I'm looking at this starting lineup too and going, who's going to play point guard? But if you're the Suns, I would just give Devin Booker all the time in the world to figure out how to play point guard. Because remember, the modern-day point guard position doesn't have to be like how Chris Paul plays. I mean, we've seen a Russell Westbrook kind of change the way you play point guard. James Harden does it differently as well. I think Devin Booker could become that kind of player, but he definitely needs time and he definitely needs room to grow. Also helps that the Suns are about to give him a massive extension for the next couple of years. And speaking of massive extensions, what a transition by Harris Rubenstein. How about Nikola Jokic signing a huge extension with the Nuggets? 5 years, $146.5 million max extension. Makes him one of the highest paid big men in the NBA. And also makes it so he is the fourth player of the 2014 draft class to get their second contract. Third guy to get a max. Jokic got one, obviously. We just said it. And Embiid got his last year. I can't believe that Andrew Wiggins was actually given $148 million. That is one of the worst contracts in basketball. The Timberwolves are going to be regretting that for years. And then you have the Nuggets also giving out a deal to their first-round pick that year of Gary Harris, who, as you see here, are getting paid $16.5 million. Look, I like what the Nuggets are trying to do. I like their roster, but man, that is an expensive team to not be a certified title contender. They have one of the biggest luxury tax hits of any team in basketball. So if they aren't contending for a title next year, they need to think about shedding some of this money. They need to hope that Paul Millsap ends up being the player that they signed. All right, our last free agent that we're going to talk about. How about Aaron Gordon? This happened right after LeBron James last night. He officially agreed to a deal to stay with the Orlando Magic. 4-year, $84 million max contract. Took a big step last year. Magic really do need him. They don't have anyone else on this team that can be a certifiable face of the franchise. Now you've got Aaron Gordon, you have Mo Bamba, Jonathan Isaac can play the 3 or the 4. Now all they need is a legitimate point guard and someone who can shoot as well next to Evan Fournier there at the 2. A good move by the Orlando Magic keeping Aaron Gordon. They just don't have a ton of talent on this team. Not to mention their development of talent over the past couple of years has been a disaster. The fact that they've been able to develop Aaron Gordon into the player he is all the much better. Good for the Magic, good for Aaron Gordon. This was definitely the right move for all sides. All right, let's go through a full list here of the free agents that we have seen sign a deal this offseason. Remember, $1 billion+ handed out already in the first weekend of NBA free agency. Jokic, Kevin Durant, Will Barton signs a 4-year, $54 million deal. You have Rudy Gay re-upping for 1 year, $10 million with the San Antonio Spurs. That's a good move for the Spurs, seeing as, well, they're about to lose their starting power or small forward in Kawhi Leonard. Rudy Gay should slot in just nicely as he did this season. Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, we talked about their deals. How about Doug McDermott getting 3 years at $22 million with the Indiana Pacers? Joe Harris returns to the Nets on a 2-year, $16 million deal. Ersan Ilyasova joins Mike Budenholzer in Milwaukee at 3 years, $21 million. Aaron Baines goes back to the Celtics at $11 million over 2 years. Jeremy Grant goes back to the Thunder bench, $27 million over 3 years. We talked about Ariza. Ed Davis leaves Portland, makes CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard sad on Twitter. He goes to Brooklyn. D. Rose somehow gets a contract with the Timberwolves, and now his Adidas deal is reactivated. $14 million a year for Derrick Rose on that Adidas shoe deal. All right, let's keep going through these free agents. Omri Caspi, 1-year deal. Marco Bellinelli, back to the Spurs. Gerald Green, back to the Rockets on a 1-year deal. Stauskas moves to the Portland Trailblazers, and Fred VanVleet bet on himself and got paid big time, $18 million a year with the Raptors. And our final sheet of free agents, Glenn Robinson III somehow gets $8 million from the Pistons, but hey, the Pistons are throwing out money like hotcakes, it seems. We talked about LeBron James, obviously. They also picked up Lance Stevenson and JaVale McGee. And then, of course, the Magic re-signed Aaron Gordon to that big-time max extension. I am Harris Rubenstein, hosting the Cam Rogers Show today, presented by Artilist. Cam is on vacation for the next week or so, so I'll be taking you through all the biggest headlines surrounding the NBA and the rest of sports. So before we get into our last segment here, what is your guys' Monstars starting five? Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, the Monstars were the infamous enemy of Michael Jordan in the original Space Jam. And according to reports and according to Hollywood, Space Jam 2 starring LeBron James will be coming out at some point either in 2018 or 2019, which means the Monstars will be back to steal more talent from NBA players today. So here are the players that I think the Monstars are going to steal their talent from. At point guard, has to be Chris Paul. Has to be. The dude's all over every single commercial. He's best buddies with LeBron James. And man, Chris Paul as a Monstar would be insane. They would obviously steal his incredible court vision and his ability to be maybe the best floor general in the NBA. At the shooting guard spot, it has to be Klay Thompson, right? You got to get that China appeal in there. China Klay, get that international movie ticket prices up. It'll be great. Also, a Monstar that looks like Klay Thompson would be one of the funniest things that animation has ever given us. At the small forward spot, it has to be Giannis, right? I mean, Giannis already is a Monstar. He's just this crazy long guy with these crazy limbs that don't make any sense at all. He's the perfect Monstar. At the 4, we know we needed to have some sort of Sean Bradley, not elite player. So I decided to pay homage to one of the great NBA players. It's Dirk. They stole Dirk's talent. They already stole it. See, that's why Dirk has been declining so bad the past 2 seasons, because the Monstars have already stolen Dirk's talent. That's the key. And then Joel Embiid there at the center because, man, how much fun would it be if Joel Embiid was a Monstar? I think that's going to end up being our starting 5. Chris Paul, Klay Thompson, Giannis, Dirk, and Joel Embiid as my Monstar starting 5. What is your starting 5 for the Monstars on Space Jam 2? Let me know in the comments section or at me on Twitter at Sportstein. Give me your starting 5. Who do you think will take over for the incredible lineup of Muggsy Bogues, Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson and also, of course, Chuck. They also took Charles Barkley's powers in Space Jam, the first one. So I want to know from you guys, what is your Monstars starting 5? Let me know in the comments section below here on YouTube and on Facebook, and also at me on Twitter at SportsTeam. We have a comment coming in from Jack Biggers saying no Westbrook at the point guard. Hey, I like that too. I would not hate seeing Russell Westbrook as the point guard for the Monstars. Next one here, we got Boogie or Anthony Davis over Embiid. Maybe Anthony Davis, just because, you know, a Monstar with a unibrow would be really funny. But I still think Joel Embiid is the perfect Monstar. He's so loud. He's so vocal. He's got this crazy 7'1" thick body. I think he'd be a perfect Monstar. We have Joseph A. Moore saying Uncle Drew. That'd be an amazing crossover. Can you imagine having a second crossover movie with Uncle Drew and Space Jam? That'd be awesome. I'd love to see Uncle Drew go up against LeBron James and the rest of the Looney Tunes. Mitchell Renz comments and says, I think they Well played, sir. I think they already stole Markelle Fultz's shooting ability. Yes, they did. Well played, Mitchell Renz. They already have a Monstar. I should have put it. You know what? I'm going to make that change right now. For the Monstars starting five, we have to put Markelle Fultz on the bench, seeing as they've already taken all of his skills. He can't shoot anymore. Here, I'm going to add it live right now. Boom. Sorry, John Wall. You've been kicked off the Monstars bench and replaced with Markelle Fultz. My bench, by the way, Markelle Fultz, Lance Stevenson, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard are my backup Monstars. I can't wait for Space Jam 2. I love Space Jam 1 with Michael Jordan and Bill Murray. I can't wait for Space Jam 2 with LeBron James starring, as the lead role. But Tom Downey and I were talking about this last night of who's going to take over the Bill Murray role. Pray that it isn't Kevin Hart, because it's going to be Kevin Hart. We know it's going to be Kevin Hart. We just have to hope and pray that it isn't actually Kevin Hart. But that's going to do it for the Cam Rogers Show today. You can follow me on Twitter @SportsDean for all your NBA news and updates. We'll be back here on Wednesday, and be sure to tune in to our NBA free agency special tonight for NBA Weekly. But for now, we'll see ya.